The desert air hung thick with tension as Lieutenant Commander Marcus Rodriguez adjusted his night vision goggles. His SEAL team had been inserted into the remote mountains of Afghanistan 3 hours before dawn, their mission clear but dangerous. Intelligence reports indicated that a high-value terrorist leader was meeting with foreign weapons dealers in a compound nestled deep within the rocky terrain. Rodriguez looked at his 5-man team, each warrior handpicked for this critical operation. Petty Officer Jake Sullivan checked his rifle for the 3rd time, his weathered hands moving with practiced precision. Next to him, communications specialist Tony Chen monitored radio frequencies while demolitions expert Ray Thompson inventoried his explosive charges. The team's medic, Doc Williams, secured his medical kit, and point man Steve Carter studied satellite images of their target location. The compound sat like a fortress carved into the mountainside, surrounded by natural rock formations that provided excellent defensive positions. 3 buildings formed a triangle around a central courtyard, with guard towers positioned at strategic corners. The SEAL team had spent weeks studying every detail, memorizing guard rotations and identifying potential escape routes. As they moved through the darkness, Rodriguez felt the familiar weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Each man under his command had families waiting at home, wives who kissed them goodbye not knowing if it would be the last time. The mission parameters were straightforward: gather intelligence on the weapons shipment, capture or eliminate the terrorist leader, and extract without civilian casualties. The team advanced in perfect formation, their boots silent against the rocky ground. Years of training had molded them into a single fighting unit, each man anticipating the other's movements. They communicated through hand signals, their faces painted with camouflage that made them nearly invisible in the pre-dawn darkness. Sullivan took point as they approached the outer perimeter. Through his scope, he could see 2 guards smoking cigarettes near the main entrance, their AK-47 rifles slung casually over their shoulders. The guards appeared relaxed, unaware that death moved silently through the shadows toward their position. Chen's radio crackled softly in his ear as base command provided final updates. Eagle 6, this is Control. Satellite shows normal activity patterns, no indication of increased security. Weather conditions optimal for extraction at 0600 hours. Rodriguez acknowledged with 2 quick clicks on his radio. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The team had trained for months for this exact scenario, running countless simulations until every movement became second nature. As they reached their final approach position, Rodriguez felt that familiar tightening in his chest that always preceded combat. It wasn't fear. SEALs learned to channel fear into focused aggression. It was the heightened awareness that came with knowing the next few hours would determine whether they returned home as heroes or in flag-draped coffins. Thompson positioned himself near what appeared to be the compound's power source. His job was to cut electricity on Rodriguez's signal, plunging the entire area into darkness and giving the team a crucial advantage. Williams set up a casualty collection point behind a cluster of boulders, preparing for the wounded that combat inevitably produced. Carter moved to his designated sniper position, his rifle equipped with a suppressor and thermal scope. From his elevated position, he could cover the team's advance and elimination any guards who threatened the mission. His finger rested lightly on the trigger, ready to deliver silent death with surgical precision. The compound's lights cast eerie shadows across the rocky landscape. Rodriguez could see movement in the windows of the central building, where intelligence suggested the meeting was taking place. Everything they had trained for, everything they had sacrificed for, came down to the next few hours. Rodriguez gave the final hand signal. The mission was officially beginning and there would be no turning back. 6 elite warriors prepared to strike like lightning from the darkness, carrying with them the hopes of their nation and the weight of their brotherhood. The silence before battle felt deafening, broken only by the distant sound of wind whistling through the mountain peaks. Each SEAL checked his equipment one final time, knowing that in combat, the smallest detail could mean the difference between life and death. As Rodriguez prepared to give the signal to begin their assault, he had no way of knowing that within hours, his team would be fighting not just for mission success, but for their very survival. The mountains held secrets that intelligence reports had missed, and the coming battle would test every skill they possessed. The warrior's prayer echoed silently in each man's mind as they prepared to emerge from the shadows and face whatever waited in the darkness ahead. Rodriguez raised his fist, then pointed toward the compound. The signal sent his team into motion like a well-oiled machine. Thompson's charges detonated simultaneously, plunging the entire area into complete darkness. The explosion echoed through the mountains as electrical systems died and emergency generators failed to activate. Chaos erupted inside the compound as voices shouted in multiple languages. Guards scrambled for flashlights while trying to determine what had caused the power failure. The SEAL team used this confusion to their advantage, moving swiftly through the outer perimeter like ghosts in the night. Carter's rifle whispered from his elevated position, and 2 guards dropped silently to the ground. His thermal scope revealed additional hostiles moving through the courtyard, unaware that death watched them from above. With practiced precision, he eliminated 3 more targets before they could raise an alarm. Sullivan and Chen breached the main building while Rodriguez and Williams moved toward the central structure where intelligence indicated the high-value target was located. The element of surprise was complete, and the team pressed their advantage with ruthless efficiency. Inside the main building, Sullivan's night vision revealed armed men rushing toward defensive positions. His rifle barked twice, and 2 insurgents collapsed before they could bring their weapons to bear. Chen covered the rear entrance, his weapon trained on a doorway where muzzle flashes indicated incoming hostiles. The sound of automatic weapons fire began echoing through the compound as the defenders realized they were under attack. Bullets sparked off stone walls as both sides engaged in deadly combat. Rodriguez's team had achieved complete surprise, but the enemy was responding faster than anticipated. Williams tossed a flashbang grenade into the central building before following Rodriguez through the breach. The explosive device created a blinding flash and deafening boom that temporarily disabled everyone inside. Through the smoke and confusion, Rodriguez spotted their primary target attempting to escape through a rear exit. The terrorist leader was exactly as described in the intelligence briefings, a tall man with a distinctive scar across his left cheek and graying beard. He clutched a briefcase that presumably contained critical intelligence about planned attacks against American forces. Rodriguez pursued the fleeing target, while Williams engaged 2 bodyguards, who emerged from a side room. The medic's training served him well as he delivered precise shots that neutralized both threats without compromising his ability to provide medical support if needed. Thompson's expertise with explosives proved invaluable as he systematically destroyed communication equipment and weapons caches throughout the compound. His controlled detonations prevented the enemy from calling for reinforcements, while eliminating resources that could be used against coalition forces. Carter continued providing overwatch from his sniper position, his scope revealing additional hostiles moving through the surrounding terrain. What had initially appeared to be a simple compound was revealing itself to be part of a larger network of defensive positions carved into the mountainside. That the terrorist leader reached a hidden tunnel entrance that intelligence reports had failed to identify. Rodriguez realized with growing concern that their target possessed detailed knowledge of escape routes that suggested extensive preparation for exactly this type of assault. Chen's radio intercepted enemy communications revealing that reinforcements were already mobilizing from positions deeper in the mountains. The compound had been bait in an elaborate trap designed to lure American forces into a killing zone where superior numbers could overwhelm even elite special operations units. Sullivan's voice crackled over the team radio as he reported discovering weapons and equipment that indicated a much larger force than intelligence estimates had suggested. Crates of ammunition, rocket-propelled grenades, and sophisticated communication equipment suggested this was a major operational headquarters rather than a simple meeting location. Rodriguez made a split-second decision that would determine the fate of his entire team. Rather than pursuing the escaping target into unknown tunnel systems, he ordered immediate extraction. The mission parameters had changed dramatically, and continuing the assault would likely result in casualties his team couldn't afford. Williams marked their current position with infrared strobes visible only through night vision equipment, signaling their extraction helicopter that the landing zone was secure. The sound of rotor blades in the distance indicated their ride home was approaching. but so were enemy reinforcements from multiple directions. Thompson rigged the remaining buildings with explosive charges set to detonate after their departure. Destroying the compound would eliminate intelligence value to the enemy, while creating confusion that might mask their escape route. As the team regrouped in the courtyard, Carter reported movement on ridgelines surrounding their position. Thermal signatures indicated at least 30 hostiles converging on their location from 3 different directions. The hunters had suddenly become the hunted. The extraction helicopter appeared over the mountain peaks, its pilot navigating through darkness using sophisticated night vision systems. But as the aircraft approached their landing zone, tracer rounds began streaking through the air from hidden positions the SEAL team hadn't detected. Rodriguez realized with growing dread that his team had walked into a carefully orchestrated ambush. The compound assault had been successful, but escaping alive would require every skill they possessed and perhaps a miracle they couldn't count on. The extraction helicopter shuddered as heavy machine gun fire raked across its fuselage. Sparks flew from the aircraft's armor plating as the pilot fought to maintain control while taking evasive action. Rodriguez watched in horror as his team's lifeline to safety began trailing smoke from its damaged engine. Eagle 6, this is Dustoff 3. The pilot's voice crackled over the radio, strain evident in his tone. I'm taking heavy fire from multiple positions. Cannot maintain hover over your LZ. Repeat, cannot complete extraction at this time. The helicopter banked sharply to avoid a rocket-propelled grenade that streaked past its rotor assembly. The pilot's skill was evident as he managed to keep the aircraft airborne, despite significant damage. But continuing the extraction attempt would likely result in the helicopter being shot down. Rodriguez made the painful decision to abort the extraction. Dustoff 3 abort approach. We'll find alternate extraction point. Do not risk aircraft and crew for our position. As the helicopter disappeared over the mountain peaks, the SEAL team found themselves completely surrounded with no immediate means of escape. Carter's thermal scope revealed enemy forces moving methodically through the terrain, systematically closing off potential escape routes. Sullivan established a defensive position behind concrete barriers near the compound's main building. His rifle targeted muzzle flashes in the darkness, but for every enemy combatant he eliminated, 2 more seemed to take their place. The sound of automatic weapons fire echoed through the mountains as both sides engaged in intense combat. Chen attempted to establish communication with base command while Thompson rigged additional explosive charges around their defensive perimeter. The demolitions expert's training proved invaluable as he created improvised barriers using rubble and explosive devices to channel enemy movement into predetermined kill zones. Williams treated a grazing wound on Rodriguez's arm while maintaining watch on their rear approach. The medic's dual role as both healer and warrior exemplified the versatility required of special operations personnel. Operating in hostile territory without immediate backup, the enemy demonstrated sophisticated tactics that suggested professional military training, rather than typical insurgent capabilities. Their coordinated assault involved suppressing fire, flanking maneuvers, and systematic pressure designed to force the SEAL team into increasingly desperate defensive positions. Rodriguez realized their situation was deteriorating rapidly. Ammunition supplies were limited, medical resources were finite, and enemy reinforcements continued arriving from directions his team couldn't effectively monitor. The compound that had been their objective was becoming their tomb. Carter's position provided the best overview of enemy movement, but his elevated location also made him the most vulnerable to concentrated fire. Bullets whistled past his position as enemy snipers attempted to eliminate the American marksman, who had been devastating their assault formations. Through his scope, Carter observed something that chilled him to the bone. Enemy forces were setting up heavy weapons positions on surrounding ridgelines, including what appeared to be mortars and recoilless rifles. Once those weapons became operational, his team's defensive position would become untenable. Contact left. Sullivan's voice cut through the radio chatter as enemy forces attempted to breach their perimeter through a rocky ravine. His automatic weapon chattered as he engaged multiple targets moving through the darkness like deadly shadows. Thompson's explosive charges detonated in sequence, creating a wall of fire and debris that temporarily halted the enemy advance. The demolitions expert's tactical use of explosives bought precious time, But Rodriguez knew they were only delaying the inevitable. Chen managed to establish intermittent communication with base command, but atmospheric conditions and enemy jamming equipment made sustained contact impossible. Brief transmissions revealed that reinforcements were mobilizing, but arrival times remained uncertain. The terrorist leader who had escaped through the hidden tunnel system was presumably coordinating the assault on the trapped SEAL team. His intimate knowledge of the terrain and defensive positions gave enemy forces a significant advantage that American technology couldn't easily overcome. Williams distributed remaining medical supplies among team members, knowing that wounds were inevitable in their current situation. His calm professionalism under extreme pressure provided psychological comfort to warriors who understood they might not survive the next few hours. Rodriguez attempted to identify potential escape routes using satellite imagery displayed on his tactical computer, but every possible avenue appeared covered by enemy observation posts. The mountains that had provided concealment during their initial approach now formed prison walls. Around their desperate position, Carter reported movement in the tunnel entrance where their primary target had escaped. Additional enemy forces were emerging from underground positions that intelligence reports had completely missed. The compound was merely the visible portion of an extensive underground network that could house hundreds of combatants. As dawn approached, enemy forces would gain visual advantages that darkness had denied them. Rodriguez knew his team had to either escape or establish a more defensible position before daylight exposed their location to concentrated enemy fire. The sound of incoming mortar rounds whistling through the air sent the team scrambling for cover. Explosions erupted around their position as enemy artillery began systematic bombardment designed to soften their defenses before the final assault. In that moment of desperate realization, Rodriguez understood that his team's survival depended on intervention they couldn't provide for themselves. They needed a guardian angel, someone watching from the shadows who could tip the balance in their favor when everything seemed lost. The mortar barrage intensified as enemy forces prepared for their final assault. Rodriguez pressed himself against the concrete barrier as shrapnel whistled overhead, knowing that each explosion brought his team closer to being overrun. The situation had become hopeless when an unfamiliar voice suddenly broke through on their emergency frequency. "SEAL team, this is Ghost. I have eyes on your position and multiple enemy concentrations. Maintain current defensive posture and prepare for immediate fire support." Rodriguez exchanged glances with his team members, confusion evident on their painted faces. No sniper support had been briefed for their mission, and base command had made no mention of additional assets in their operational area. Yet the voice carried the calm confidence of a professional warrior who understood exactly what was happening. "Ghost, this is Eagle 6. Identify yourself and confirm authorization for fire support in our area of operations." Silence stretched for several seconds before the mysterious voice responded. "Eagle 6 authorization comes from staying alive. Enemy assault force numbering approximately 40 combatants preparing to advance on your position from 3 directions. Suggest you keep your heads down." The sharp crack of a high-powered rifle echoed across the mountainside, and Carter reported through his scope that an enemy machine gun position had been eliminated with a single precise shot. The distance and accuracy required for such a shot indicated a marksman of extraordinary skill operating. From a concealed position, Sullivan watched in amazement as enemy snipers began falling one by one to precisely placed shots that seemed to come from nowhere. Each elimination was surgical in its precision, targeting key personnel and weapon systems that posed the greatest threat to the surrounded SEAL team. "Ghost, Eagle 6. We need immediate extraction support. Can you provide overwatch for helicopter approach?" "Negative, Eagle 6. Your ride won't be coming for another 30 minutes, and these guys plan to finish this party before then. I'm going to thin out the guest list, but you need to be ready to move when I give the word." The mysterious sniper's voice carried a slight southern accent and the easy confidence of someone completely comfortable with delivering death from long range. His shots continued with mechanical precision, each one eliminating a specific threat that had been menacing the SEAL team's defensive position. Chen monitored radio frequencies and detected increasing panic in enemy communications, as their assault leaders were systematically eliminated by an invisible opponent they couldn't locate or engage. The psychological impact was as devastating as the physical casualties. Thompson prepared explosive charges for a potential breakout attempt, while Williams redistributed ammunition among team members. The appearance of unexpected fire support had shifted tactical possibilities from desperate defense to potential offensive action. Carter studied the surrounding terrain through his thermal scope, attempting to identify the mystery sniper's position. The shot seemed to originate from multiple locations, suggesting either multiple snipers or a single operator, moving between carefully prepared positions with incredible speed. Ghost. This is Eagle 6, what's your extraction plan? We can't leave you behind when our ride arrives. A low chuckle came through the radio before Ghost responded. Don't worry about me, Eagle 6. I specialize in disappearing when the party gets too crowded. Your job is keeping your team alive long enough for pickup. Rodriguez felt a mixture of gratitude and concern for their unexpected guardian angel. Military protocol demanded accountability for all personnel in the operational area, but their current situation left little room for normal procedures. Survival trumped everything else. The enemy mortar position exploded in a brilliant fireball as Ghost's rifle found the ammunition storage area. Secondary explosions continued for several minutes as stored ordnance detonated, eliminating the artillery threat that had been systematically destroying the SEAL team's defensive positions. Eagle 6, enemy command post located in building complex 200 meters northwest of your position. I count 6 high-value targets including your original objective. Recommend immediate assault while they're focused on finding my position. Rodriguez realized that Ghost had not only saved his team from annihilation but had also presented them with an opportunity to complete their original mission. The terrorist leader who had escaped was apparently coordinating the assault from a nearby command center. Sullivan and Chen prepared for immediate assault on the enemy command post while Thompson rigged charges to cover their withdrawal route. The mysterious sniper's intervention had transformed their desperate situation into a tactical opportunity that could achieve mission success. Carter reported that enemy forces were breaking contact and withdrawing toward defensive positions around the command complex. Ghost's devastating accurate fire had shattered their assault coordination and forced them into reactive mode rather than maintaining offensive pressure. Ghost. Eagle 6 preparing to assault enemy command post. Can you provide overwatch and prevent enemy reinforcement of the target area? Roger that, Eagle 6. I'll keep the back door locked while you knock on the front door. Make it fast. My ammunition supply isn't infinite, and these mountains are crawling with unfriendly faces. Rodriguez led his team forward through terrain littered with enemy casualties, each one eliminated by Ghost's precise marksmanship. The mysterious sniper's intervention had not only saved their lives, but had created tactical conditions that made mission completion possible. As the SEAL team prepared to assault the enemy command post, Rodriguez wondered about the identity of their guardian angel. Ghost's professional skills and intimate knowledge of their situation suggested special operations background, but his presence in the area remained completely unexplained. The sound of helicopter rotors in the distance indicated their extraction aircraft was approaching, but Rodriguez knew they had limited time to complete their assault and reach the pickup zone. Everything depended on Ghost's continued support and their team's ability to strike fast and hard at the enemy leadership. Rodriguez led his team through the darkness toward the enemy command post, their movements covered by Ghost's deadly accurate fire. The mysterious sniper continued eliminating sentries and guards with surgical precision, creating corridors of advance that allowed the SEAL team to approach their objective undetected. Sullivan and Chen reached the perimeter of the command complex, a cluster of reinforced buildings built into the mountainside with interconnecting tunnels and defensive positions. Through thermal imaging, they could see heat signatures indicating multiple high-value targets gathered in the central structure. Eagle 6, Ghost. I count 12 hostiles in the main building, 6 in the western structure, and 4 guards patrolling the perimeter. Your primary target is definitely inside with what appears to be foreign advisors, probably the weapons dealers from your original intelligence. Rodriguez acknowledged while Thompson prepared shaped charges for breaching the reinforced entrance. The demolitions expert's expertise was crucial for penetrating the hardened defensive positions that protected the terrorist leadership from conventional assault. Ghost's rifle cracked again, and a guard tower position erupted in sparks as the sniper's bullet found an ammunition cache. The explosion illuminated the entire complex for several seconds, revealing defensive preparations that exceeded anything in their intelligence. Briefings. Chen disabled exterior communication equipment with precisely placed shots while Williams established overwatch from an elevated position. The team's coordinated assault demonstrated the training and teamwork that made SEAL units the elite of Special Operations Forces. Eagle 6. Be advised that your primary target is attempting to evacuate through the tunnel system. Western exit approximately 50 meters from the main building. I don't have a clear shot from my current position. Rodriguez realized that capturing the terrorist leader required splitting his team, a dangerous tactical decision in their current situation. However, allowing such a high-value target to escape would mean their mission's primary objective remained unfulfilled. Sullivan volunteered to pursue the fleeing target while Rodriguez and Chen assaulted the main building where intelligence documents and foreign weapons dealers remained. Thompson's explosive charges breached the entrance as Ghost's covering fire eliminated responding guards. The interior of the command post revealed sophisticated communication equipment, detailed maps of coalition base locations, and plans for coordinated attacks against American forces throughout the region. The intelligence value exceeded their mission planners' most optimistic estimates. Chen systematically photographed documents and downloaded computer files while Rodriguez engaged enemy combatants who emerged from defensive positions. Throughout the complex, the terrorist organization's operational planning was far more advanced than intelligence estimates had suggested. Thompson's secondary charges destroyed weapon storage areas and ammunition supplies, creating massive explosions that could be seen for miles across the mountain ranges. The demolitions prevented enemy forces from utilizing the cached weapons against coalition forces. Sullivan's pursuit of the terrorist leader led through narrow tunnels carved into the mountainside, a claustrophobic maze designed to confuse and delay attackers. His night vision equipment provided crucial advantages in the underground environment, where ambush was the primary defensive tactic. Ghost's voice crackled over the radio with increasing urgency. Eagle 6, large enemy force approaching from the north. Approximately 20 vehicles with heavy weapons. Your extraction window is closing fast. Rodriguez ordered immediate withdrawal as Chen completed downloading critical intelligence files. The mission's primary objectives had been achieved, but escape required reaching the extraction zone before enemy reinforcements arrived in overwhelming numbers. Williams provided covering fire as the team evacuated the command post, his medical training balanced by warrior skills that kept enemy forces pinned down during their withdrawal. The versatility of SEAL personnel was evident in their ability to adapt to changing tactical situations. Sullivan emerged from the tunnel system with his prisoner, the terrorist leader secured with flex cuffs and stripped of weapons and communication devices. The high-value target's capture represented a significant intelligence coup that would disrupt terrorist operations throughout the region. Ghost Eagle 6, primary objective secured, proceeding to extraction point with critical intelligence and high-value prisoner. What's your status for withdrawal? Eagle 6, I'm fine. You focus on getting your team to that helicopter. I've got some loose ends to tie up before I disappear into these mountains. Good hunting and safe travels home. Rodriguez wanted to insist on extracting Ghost with his team, but the mysterious sniper's tone indicated the conversation was over. The sound of helicopter rotors grew louder as their extraction aircraft approached the designated landing zone. Thompson's charges detonated throughout the complex as the SEAL team reached their pickup point, destroying remaining intelligence materials and preventing enemy forces from recovering sensitive information about American operations and capabilities. Carter established overwatch on the landing zone while Chen prepared smoke markers to guide the extraction helicopter to their exact location. The coordination required for successful special operations depended on precise execution of every detail. The helicopter flared for landing as Ghost's rifle continued speaking from the darkness, holding enemy forces at bay during the critical moments when the SEAL team was most vulnerable. The mysterious sniper's sacrifice of his own extraction ensured their mission's success. Rodriguez loaded his team and prisoner aboard the aircraft as the pilot prepared for immediate departure. Looking back toward the mountains where Ghost continued fighting alone, Rodriguez felt a mixture of gratitude and concern for the warrior who had saved their lives. Dust-off 3, Eagle 6, all personnel and objectives secure, ready for immediate departure. As the helicopter lifted off and turned toward friendly territory, Rodriguez watched muzzle flashes in the darkness below where their guardian angel continued his lonely battle. The mountains held their secrets, and Ghost had chosen to become one of them. 3 days after the successful extraction, Rodriguez sat in the debriefing room at Bagram Air Base, surrounded by intelligence analysts and mission commanders who struggled to understand how his team had survived what should have been a catastrophic ambush. The captured terrorist leader had already provided critical information about planned attacks, and the intelligence gathered from the command post was revolutionizing understanding of enemy capabilities in the region. Colonel Sarah Mitchell, the intelligence officer leading the debriefing, reviewed Rodriguez's after-action report for the 3rd time. Every detail had been documented except for the most important element of their survival: the identity and current status of the mysterious sniper who had saved their lives. Lieutenant Commander, we've analyzed every asset in your operational area during the time frame you specified. Satellite imagery, drone surveillance, radio intercepts, and personnel tracking all confirm the same thing. There were no authorized American forces within 50 miles of your position. Rodriguez maintained his composure, despite growing frustration with the official response to Ghost's intervention. His team owed their lives to someone who had risked everything to save strangers. Yet the military bureaucracy seemed determined to ignore or classify the incident. Sullivan entered the briefing room with a stack of photographs taken by reconnaissance drones during their extraction. The images showed the compound and surrounding area in daylight, revealing the extent of damage caused by the mysterious sniper's precision fire. Sir, these photos confirm everything we reported. 23 enemy casualties, all from single rifle shots at ranges exceeding 800 meters. Whoever Ghost is, he's operating with equipment and skills that exceed anything in our standard inventory. Chen had spent hours analyzing radio intercepts from the battle, attempting to identify any communications that might reveal Ghost's identity or affiliation. Enemy radio traffic confirmed the devastating impact of the sniper fire, with multiple references to an invisible demon who could kill from impossible distances. The intelligence analysts struggled to explain how a single marksman could achieve such tactical dominance against a force of 40 experienced combatants. Computer models suggested that Ghost's performance exceeded theoretical limits for individual sniper effectiveness in mountainous terrain. Williams had treated the team's minor wounds while documenting their medical status throughout the ordeal. His report confirmed that without Ghost's intervention, the SEAL team would have faced overwhelming odds that made survival statistically impossible. Thompson's analysis of the explosive damage revealed that Ghost had somehow identified and targeted specific ammunition, storage areas, and weapon positions that weren't visible to American surveillance assets. The sniper's knowledge of enemy capabilities suggested extensive reconnaissance or inside information. Carter's detailed report of Ghost's shooting positions indicated movement patterns that defied normal tactical doctrine. The mystery marksman had somehow repositioned between shots without being detected by thermal imaging or radio intercepts, suggesting training and equipment beyond standard military capabilities. Rodriguez requested permission to lead a search mission to locate Ghost and determine his status, but operational commanders denied the request, citing security concerns and resource limitations. The official position was that no American personnel were unaccounted for in the area. Dr. James Harrison, a psychological operations specialist, suggested that Ghost might be a local asset recruited by intelligence agencies for covert operations. Such arrangements existed throughout the region, providing deniable capabilities that official military units couldn't achieve. The captured terrorist leader, during his interrogation, repeatedly referenced an American ghost warrior who had haunted the mountains for months, eliminating key personnel and disrupting operations throughout the region. His testimony suggested Ghost's intervention wasn't an isolated incident. Colonel Mitchell reviewed classified reports from other units operating in the region, finding references to unexplained sniper activity that matched Ghost's capabilities and tactics. A pattern emerged of American forces receiving unexpected fire support during critical moments when conventional backup wasn't available. Rodriguez's team submitted formal requests to extend their deployment and search for Ghost, but administrative procedures required approval from multiple command levels. The bureaucratic process seemed designed to discourage investigation rather than support personnel recovery operations. Chen discovered that radio frequencies used by Ghost matched equipment issued to special operations units, but serial numbers and encryption codes didn't correspond to any weapons currently assigned to personnel in the theater of operations. The equipment appeared to be legitimate but officially non-existent. Sullivan's analysis of bullet fragments, recovered from the battlefield, revealed ammunition types used exclusively by American Special Operations Forces. The forensic evidence confirmed that Ghost was almost certainly an American serviceman. Despite official denials of any missing personnel, Thompson found evidence at Ghost's suspected firing positions, including spent brass casings and equipment caches that suggested extended operations in the area. The professional construction of the positions indicated someone with advanced training in long-range marksmanship and fieldcraft. Williams documented medical supplies found at Ghost's positions, including medications used exclusively by American military personnel. The supplies suggested someone operating independently for extended periods without official logistical support. The intelligence community's response to Ghost's existence remained consistently evasive, suggesting classification levels that prevented normal investigation procedures. Rodriguez began to suspect that Ghost's identity was known to someone in the command structure, but considered too sensitive for disclosure. As Rodriguez prepared to return to the United States with his team, he made a personal commitment to continue investigating Ghost's identity and status. A warrior who had saved American lives deserved recognition and support, regardless of official policies that seemed designed to deny his existence. The mystery of Ghost would haunt Rodriguez for years to come, driving him to search for answers about the guardian angel who had emerged from the darkness to save his team when everything seemed lost in the mountains of Afghanistan. 2 years after returning from Afghanistan, Rodriguez received an unexpected phone call that would finally answer the questions that had haunted him since that desperate night in the mountains. The caller identified himself as retired Army Colonel David McReynolds, formerly of Special Operations Command, and requested a private meeting at a small cafe in Virginia Beach. Rodriguez arrived early and chose a corner table where he could observe the entrance while maintaining privacy for sensitive conversation. When McReynolds entered, Rodriguez immediately recognized the bearing of a Special Operations veteran despite the man's civilian clothes and graying hair. McReynolds ordered coffee before speaking in the measured tones of someone accustomed to handling classified information. "Lieutenant Commander, I understand you've been asking questions about someone called Ghost who provided fire support during your mission in Afghanistan." Rodriguez confirmed his ongoing investigation into Ghost's identity, explaining his team's moral obligation to account for the warrior who had saved their lives. McReynolds listened without interruption, occasionally nodding as if confirming details he already knew. Ghost's real name was Sergeant First Class Michael Torres, Army Special Forces. He was officially killed in action 18 months before your mission, during a classified operation that went wrong in the same mountain region where you encountered him. The revelation hit Rodriguez like a physical blow. Ghost had been operating alone in hostile territory for over a year, presumed dead by his own command while continuing to fight against enemy forces that had destroyed his team. McReynolds explained that Torres had been part of a deep reconnaissance team tasked with monitoring terrorist activities in the region. His team was ambushed during insertion, and Torres was the only survivor. Standard protocol would have been immediate extraction, but communication equipment was destroyed and enemy forces prevented rescue operations. Torres made a decision that probably saved hundreds of American lives over the following months. Instead of attempting to reach friendly lines, he established a base camp in the mountains and began conducting independent operations against enemy forces. Rodriguez learned that Torres had systematically disrupted terrorist operations throughout the region, eliminating key personnel and destroying weapon caches while living off captured supplies and equipment. His knowledge of enemy positions and capabilities became legendary among local insurgent groups. McReynolds revealed that intelligence agencies had detected Torres's activities but couldn't establish contact without compromising ongoing operations. The decision was made to classify Torres as killed in action, while secretly monitoring his independent campaign against enemy forces. Your team wasn't the first group he saved. Torres intervened in at least 6 situations where American forces faced overwhelming odds. He never requested extraction or support, just continued fighting his own war in those mountains. Rodriguez felt a mixture of admiration and sadness For the warrior who had sacrificed everything to continue serving his country, despite being abandoned by the system he served, Torres had become a ghost in the most literal sense. Existing between life and death in the mountains, he made his battlefield. The intelligence community had attempted multiple times to contact Torres and arrange extraction, but he avoided all official contact while continuing to provide unauthorized support to American forces in the region. His psychological state became a concern as months of isolation took their toll. McReynolds explained that Torres had developed an elaborate network of hidden positions and supply caches throughout the mountains, creating a personal fortress where he could wage guerrilla warfare against enemy forces. His tactical innovations exceeded anything taught in special operations training. After your mission, we finally managed to locate Torres's main base camp. When extraction teams arrived, they found evidence of his presence but no sign of Torres himself. He had disappeared completely, leaving behind only a note thanking American forces for their service. Rodriguez asked about current efforts to locate Torres and provide him with the support and recognition he deserved. McReynolds' expression grew somber as he explained that Torres was presumed to have died from wounds or exhaustion. After months of independent operations, the official record would forever show Torres as killed in action during his original mission. His subsequent activities classified at levels that prevented public recognition. His family had been told he died heroically serving his country, which was technically accurate but incomplete. McReynolds provided Rodriguez with coordinates for Torres's main base camp, suggesting that a private visit might provide closure for both Rodriguez and any family members who deserved to know the truth about their loved one's extended service and sacrifice. Torres saved your team because that's what soldiers do. They serve something greater than themselves. He couldn't save his own team, so he spent the last months of his life ensuring other teams made it home safely. Rodriguez realized that Ghost's intervention had been about redemption as much as tactical support. Torres had found meaning in his impossible situation by continuing to serve others, transforming personal tragedy into purposeful sacrifice. The meeting ended with McReynolds providing Rodriguez with a small metal object, Torres' Special Forces tab, recovered from his base camp along with personal effects that would be returned to his family through unofficial channels. As Rodriguez held the tab, he understood that some warriors fight battles that history never records, making sacrifices that only their fellow soldiers witness and remember. Torres had become a legend whispered among special operations personnel, a ghost story with profound truth. Driving home, Rodriguez planned to visit Torres' base camp and ensure that the warrior's sacrifice was properly honored. Even if only by those who understood the true cost of freedom, some stories couldn't be officially told, but they could be personally remembered by those whose lives were saved by warriors who emerged from darkness when hope seemed lost. Ghost had found his final mission in saving others, and Rodriguez would ensure that mission's legacy lived on in the hearts of those who knew the truth about the guardian angel who watched over American soldiers from the mountains of Afghanistan.